Okay, so we'll resume June 2007 Foundation Tier, and it's the completion paper, non-calculator, paper 1. Question 6 onwards. Okay, so just a quick recap on question 6A in this paper. We have to find out how much Claire earns in a week. So I've circled all the times that Claire worked on the table, and then I've added in the hours. So it's 4 hours there, 4 hours there, 4 there, 4 there, and 4. And when we look at the times, then that's a total of 16 hours. 4 times 4 at £7 per hour, which is £112. And then we've got 4 hours on the Saturday at £8 per hour, which is £32. So she gets a total of £144 for the amount of hours she worked that week. So then we're going to go on to question 6B. This time they tell us that she's got to pay national insurance, which is another type of tax on her earnings. She pays nothing on the first £94 of her earnings, but has to pay 11% on the rest, on whatever is left. So the first thing you have to do is take away the £94 from what she earned, which was £144, because the first £94 is free of this national insurance. So when we take 144, take away 94, she's got £50 left, and she's got to pay 11% on the £50. So probably the one way to do that is to say we'll work out what 1% is of £50. So hopefully you remember that percentage is always out of 100. So to find 1%, we're going to divide by 100. So 50 divided by 100, we can cancel that down or simplify that by dividing 10 into the top and bottom. So we get 5 over 10. And then hopefully you can see we can simplify that again by dividing 5 into the top and bottom. So we get 1 over 2, or a half. So effectively that's the same as saying it's half a pound. So 1% of £50 is half a pound, 0.5 pounds, or 50p. But we need to work out 11%. So we're going to multiply the 0.5 pounds by 11. Or you can think of it as multiplying 50p by 11, which is 550p, and we write that as £5.50. So the answer is £5.50. Okay, so have a look at question 7, and if you want to stop the video and do that, we'll go over it in a couple of seconds. Okay, so question 7, you can see the key word here is estimate. And you need to remember that when we're estimating, you're going to round all the numbers to one significant figure, and essentially that means you're going to round them to the nearest 100, or the nearest 10, or the nearest whole number, depending on the size of the number. So this first one, we've got 39.3, so that's a number in the 10, so we're going to round that to the nearest 10, which is 40. 1.9, that's a number in the unit, so we're going to round to the nearest whole number, which is 2, and then the answer just becomes 40 multiplied by 2 is 80. Okay, part B, 39.3 again, we're going to round that to the nearest 10, which is 40, divided by 1.9, so this time we're dividing. 1.9 rounds to the nearest whole number, which is 2, so 40 divided by 2 is 20. Part C then, we've got CDs costing £9.85, and many of them can be bought for £120. For this one, probably we're going to round £9.85 to the nearest whole number of pounds, which is £10. And probably easiest here just to divide £10 into 120. Because both numbers end in a 0, it makes it a lot easier to divide by 10. We just effectively take the 0 off the end of the 120 and that divides into that 12 times, so the answer is 12. Part D, how many 404 gram packets can be filled from a bag containing 8 kilograms? First thing to notice here is that this is in grams, this is in kilograms, so we need to change the 8 kilograms into grams. And of course, you need to remember that there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. That little prefix kilo will always indicate 1,000. So that means 8 kilograms is going to be 8,000 grams. So then back to our estimating, we're going to round 404 grams to the nearest 100. So that becomes 400 grams. So we're going to have to divide 400 into 8,000. So I've written it there, 8,000 over 400. And that makes it easy to cancel zeros on the top and bottom. That's like dividing the top and bottom by 10. We can cancel a 0 there, cancel a 0 there. Then we can divide again by 10, cancel another 0 on the top, another 0 on the bottom. So we get 80 divided by 4, and that gives you the answer 20. The answer is 20. Okay, so there's question 8a. You want to stop the video and we'll go through it in a few seconds. Okay, for 8a, the key word here is to explain why the angle sum of a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. So the trick here is to realize that you can divide the quadrilateral up into triangles. So if we pick one vertex or corner, we can draw a diagonal across to this opposite corner, and we've divided this four-sided shape, this quadrilateral, into two triangles, and hopefully you remember that each triangle is 180 degrees in it. So this means all the angles inside the quadrilateral is 180 there, another 180 there, so there's a total of 360 degrees. Okay, here's question 8b. Again, it's another explain one, if you want to have a go at that, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so for 8b, the task here is to explain, that's the key word, why the exterior angle, that's this DAB, so this angle here, of the triangle ABC is equal to the sum of the two interior angles B and C of this triangle. So we want to know why is that big angle there, DAB, equal to these two angles added together. And the way to do this, we're just going to explain it now, is that we call that angle B, that angle C, and let's just call this angle X. So hopefully you realize that inside that triangle, angles B plus C plus X add up to 180 degrees. So if you just write that down, X plus B plus C equals 180 degrees. And the reason put in brackets is angles in a triangle. Then the next thing you need to realize is that this angle here, this angle DAB, along with this angle X, also adds up to 180 because it's a straight line angle. So that straight line there, that whole angle all the way around there is also 180. Again, you need to explain that it's angles in a straight line. So this means that this big angle here must be the same as these two added together, because those three add up to 180. Those two, including that same angle X, add up to 180. So that means that angle there must be equal to those two added together. Okay, here's question 9, and you're given a graph. It's a travel graph. So there's part A, you have a look at that, and then just part B then is asking how far was he from work at the point when he stopped. Okay, so for question 9, the key thing here to notice is the graph illustrates a man's journey home from work. So this is important because it's at this point here, this is the point where he's at work, and he's traveling. The graph is going down the way because he's going back to home down here. So the first part is, it tells you he stopped for petrol. So hopefully everybody remembers that the horizontal part of any of these travel graphs is the point where he stops, and they want to know how long did he stop for. So you need to go to the beginning of the horizontal bit, draw your line down, look at the scale, and from 0 to 5 here, there's 10 little squares, so every 2 squares is 1 minute, so that's 3. And then go to the end here, draw your line down, that's 5, that's 10, so every 2 little squares is 1 minute, so that's 7, so he stopped for 4 minutes. Then for the next bit, it says, how far was he from work at this point? So we need to go back to the graph and see. So at this point here, when he left work, he was 30 kilometers from home, and when he stopped here, he was 25 kilometers from home. So effectively, he's traveled 30 to 25, so he's traveled 5 kilometers. So at work he was 30 kilometers from home. When he stopped he was 25 kilometers from home. So he had traveled 5 kilometers. So the answer is 5 kilometers. He was 5 kilometers from work. Okay, so have a look at question 10 and have a go at it yourself. We'll go through it in a few seconds. Okay, so for question 10, the key words here are, there's a class of 30 pupils, and the textbooks had a total cost of £600, and they want to buy the same textbook for another class of 24 pupils. So we have to work out, if it costs £600 for 30 pupils books, how much would it cost for 24 pupils? So there's a couple of ways of doing this. We could think of it as trying to work out what one textbook costs. So we know 30 costs 600, so one is going to cost 600 divided by 30, and that you can cancel a 0, 600, a 0 cancel on the top, 0 on the bottom, so that gives you 60 divided by 3, which is £20. So then 24 textbooks will cost 20 multiplied by 24, which is £480. Or you can think of it also as 30 textbooks cost £600, so 6 textbooks will cost 1/5 of that. So it's like dividing 5 into 30, and we'll divide 5 into 600, so that's £120. So then 24 textbooks are going to be 4 times bigger than that. 4 times 6 is 24, so it's going to be 120 multiplied by 4 is again £480. The second part then, it says there's a special offer. You can buy 4 books with the price of 3. What will be the actual costs of the textbooks for the 24 pupils? So again, going back to the first part, we were told that each textbook cost £20. So 3 textbooks then would cost £60. But what they're saying is, for every 3 that you buy, you get 4. So this means that you get 4 books for this price of 3, which is 4 books for £60. So then if we want to work out how much 24 books would cost, then we can multiply that by 6. 6 times 4 is 24. And then we're going to multiply 60 multiplied by 6 gives us £360. So at this special offer then, the cost of the books for the 24 pupils would be £360. Or another way of looking at that is, it's 3/4 of the previous answer that we got, which was £480. So it's 3/4 of that, which is 480 divided by 4 to get 1/4, and then multiplied by 3 to get 3/4. So 480 divided by 4 is 120, multiplied by 3 again gives you the same answer of 360.